So it's officially September, elk season's here, and I want to do kind of a pack dump of sorts. This pack setup is going to be more of a later season setup. Some of the gear in here really I wouldn't recommend carrying in those earlier September hunts. This is going to be what I carry in the middle of October. And actually this pack has some gear in it that's actually going to be split up between me and my wife. So currently the pack without food or water is 34 pounds. That's with a teepee tent, a wood stove, titanium wood stove, all my cook gear, my water filtration, safety gear, stuff like that. When season gets here, my wife will be hunting with me, and Bailey will actually be carrying probably the wood stove. I'll probably keep my tent. I will probably have her carry the cook stove or jet boil and the food, and then we'll share water kind of evenly, but that'll make this pack even lighter. So some of the stuff in here isn't the lightest stuff on the market. There are other options, but this is what I'm carrying this year. And I will do a separate video on what I would carry in like these earlier September hunts, because it'll vary quite a bit. I probably wouldn't carry a wood stove, depending on where you're going and what the weather looks like. If you're gonna be up high above timberline, the wood stove is still a good idea. I think it's worth its weight in gold. You know, anybody that's been up high like that, storms pop up, you know, constantly. And if you get wet, if it does get really cold one night or you end up with snow, because I have been snowed on. Last year, it'll be a week from now last year, packing my mule deer out, I got snowed on, got hailed on, I got soaking wet. I actually bailed off 5 miles back down to the truck, took part of my meat out, and had to go back to our base camp setup to get dry, and I hiked back in the next morning. If I would have actually had this titanium wood stove with me, wouldn't have been a problem. I'd have kicked the wood stove up, got the fire going, dried my gear out. I've been just fine, could have stayed. But it's definitely not needed. So I'm gonna kind of jump right on into it. First thing, and this isn't in my pack, but this is my binocular harness. It's what stays on my chest. This is the stuff that I keep right here readily available. So obviously it is a bino harness. I have the Burris. These are the drop tine 10x42 binos. Really good option. They're wide enough field of view. You can kind of still see in the tight stuff, but you can still see it at range. Now, if you're going to be hunting more open country, something like a set of 12x50s, you know, that might be a little better option. The 12x would probably be definitely a better option on open country, but for what we hunt, the 10x42s do fine. On the side here, I just have my Vortex rangefinder. This model, it's an Impact 1000, not the highest end rangefinder at all. You know, obviously it's a bow hunting channel. I bow hunt a lot. This works perfect for bow hunting, but it still gets me out there if I want to go rifle hunting. This has the range and the capability to do that. So I keep that right here on the side. Now this sits on my chest like so. So my bino harness on the right side, keep the rangefinder. I do have a tether on here. Now this is just a cheap coil tether. It's an Amazon deal. I think it was like $2. But if I drop that rangefinder, if it pops out of that pocket, I'm not gonna lose it. If I have to set it down for a quick shot and I don't have time to fish it back in my pocket, it's just gonna hang. It won't, you know, I'm not gonna lose it. It's not gonna bang around. Go to the left side. I always keep wind checker. Anybody that's hunted mountains, anybody that's hunted any sort of long-term hunt where you're not gonna go back and shower and you're not soaking down with scent away and all that good stuff, dead downwind, that's where wind checker comes into play big time. This stuff doesn't weigh anything. This is dead downwind's version. You just hit it, and right there, wind's blowing left to right. Playing the wind when you're out west is a really big deal. Some guys don't factor in the wind as much as they should, and it'll really, really impact your hunt. Play the wind, try to stay downwind anytime you can, and really watch the thermals. On the bottom, I actually keep my protection. It's a Sig Sauer X10 10mm. Really, really love this setup. It's full size, fits my hand really well. I keep a full mag. I run 15+1, so 16 rounds, and I keep Underwood hard cast in there. I believe it's 200 grain hard cast. This stuff packs a punch, like a big time punch. Luckily, I've never needed it. Most places I hunt, well, I'm not in grizzly country, and I don't have much of a danger but when I'm cleaning a carcass at dark or just around some shady areas, and half the time it's just shady areas around some of the towns you come through, it's nice to have something on me. And like I said, if you're cleaning an animal, if you happen to come upon, you know, a mountain lion and a cub or something, just, it's always nice to have that peace of mind. I go with the 6-hour X10. It's a 320 frame, really nice setup. But I keep it in a marsupial gear pistol pouch right here that uses molly webbing on the bottom of my Mystery Ranch bino harness. There is a front pocket on here. That's where I keep my main headlamp. I also keep an extra diaphragm elk call. If I can get all this stuff out of here. Keep a set of earplugs. I am going to be rifle hunting this year. I keep these in there. I shoot suppressed, but you never know. Maybe that suppressor's not on. Maybe the person's filming me, my wife, is going to be super close. Maybe she wants them. I just keep earplugs. These can also come in handy if you're not used to camping in the mountains. Some people just flat out will not sleep very well in the mountains. So that's just a quick tech tip. Earplugs. These just happen to be Go Hunt branded earplugs. But pop those earplugs in. All those little sounds, you hear a twig break, whatever, it's not going to wake you up. You're going to sleep right through it. You get much better rest with a set of earplugs. I also keep some AAA batteries. These are some cheap AAAs. My main headlamp does not use AAAs. It's a rechargeable 18650, but my backup headlamp is a AAA headlamp. And it's nice to have extra batteries. If something happens to this and I'm using my backup, my batteries are right here on my chest. I unzip it, I can change batteries. My main headlamp though is an 18650 rechargeable. This thing is the Sofrin brand, I believe. Super, super bright. Probably the brightest red and white headlamp I've ever used. Very good headlamp. So that's everything I keep on my chest. Like I said, that's a Mystery Ranch bino harness. I think it's actually the older model. I think they made a new model of this. I don't have the new model, but this one's done me great. I have zero complaints. Really love all Mystery Ranch products. I mean, they're super well made. But moving on to the actual pack, kind of what this video is about. This pack is a Beartooth 80. It's not organized the greatest right now. A lot of this gear is just thrown in here. I used it on a scout trip to Colorado earlier this year, and it really never got unpacked. I kind of threw my sleeping bag stuff in there for the video. But start off on what's on the outside. So I always keep, this is a Badlands puffy jacket. This is a Drifter puffy. I always keep some sort of puffy with me. I really like this one. It's a little heavier than some of the other brands, but it's a very good jacket. And one thing that's really nice, anything that has that Badlands skull logo right there, lifetime unconditional warranty. I always keep a puffy with me. I always tend to strap it to the outside of the pack, easy to get to. Here strapped to the sides, I just have my Kenetrek gaiters. These will actually be on me when I'm hiking in. If it happens that, if the sun comes out and dries that dew up and it gets really good and dry, I sometimes will take these off, but a lot of times I'll just leave my gaiters on all day. It keeps your boots cleaner, keeps your socks from getting wet. And the biggest thing to wet boots is they could be waterproof boots, but if the bottom of your pants get wet, if your socks get wet, your socks are gonna wick that moisture into your boot, and that's where these come in handy. They just go over the bottom of your boot. These come up, just below my knee. Really, really helps, especially walking through wet dew, anything like that. I highly recommend gaiters if you're gonna be doing any hunting out west. This side of my pack, I'll always have my tripod. My camera is actually set up on that tripod right now, so it's not on here, but there's a nice pocket down here. I can slide the bottom of the tripod. Then there's a couple of straps to hold it into place. This side of my pack, I keep a bugle tube. Now, I may not actually carry this with me this year. I am going mid-October. Obviously anything 1st September on though, I generally always have a bugle tube. So where the tent and this stove is sitting is actually the meat shelf. So if I get an animal down, there's straps here, straps on this side, straps up top. I can lay this whole pack open, and you can actually lay meat and this one is stained up. I did pack a mule deer out with this pack. You can actually lay meat in your game bag right here on this. Your pack comes up over the top, your straps go around the side. I'll see if I can try to find a video of this exact pack loaded with some mule deer meat last year, but if I can find it, I'll throw it in. But the pack really just like completely surrounds the quarter. It makes it so that your meat's not moving around like crazy on you. It really holds it tight to your back. This is one of the best packs I've found as far as stability and comfort when packing meat. Now I know there's a lot of other really good packs out there, but you got EXO, you got stuff like that. But Mystery Ranch hasn't let me down. They got a really good system for packing meat. If you're not carrying anything on the meat shelf, your pack's set straight against the frame. It's a little tighter, no issue at all. When you're ready to pack that meat, you just lay it down, throw your meat on the shelf. So on that meat shelf, this is a teepee tent that I'm going to be using this year. This is a 1 Tigris. I'm not positive on the model, and I apologize for that, but this is a big one. This is like a 12-foot diameter teepee. I can stand up in the middle of it. Very big, super comfortable for 2 people. This is an Amazon tent, but it's actually really well made. And then this is a fire hiking titanium wood stove. It's just a little fire box. It's got a titanium stovepipe that's all rolled up inside here. Makes that tent just super warm and comfortable. On them earlier September hunts, them 2 things aren't really needed. You can get by with a lot smaller tent. You really don't need the wood stove, but I think that thing's worth its weight in gold when you're up high. So now, moving to my actual pack. On the front here, there's a zippered pocket. This is where I like to keep gear if I need to get to it quick. I have a small tarp. This is a 5-foot by 7-foot small tarp. It doesn't weigh anything. The nice thing about this, you can lay it down, you can put your meat on it. If you're cleaning an animal, if you got to get out of some rain, you can throw it up over your head. A lot of different options. I always keep a small tarp. This is just a Walmart outdoor products tarp, but it's 5 by 7. It doesn't weigh anything. I keep it in there. I have my water filter set up. This is actually a Sawyer. This is a gravity setup. If I'm just gonna be day hunting, I don't keep a gravity setup with me. I'll carry just a Sawyer squeeze. I can hook it on top of a smart water bottle and literally take a squeeze bag of dirty water, squeeze it through the filter, fills the smart water bottle, clean water, ready to drink, super easy. This is a little bigger than what you really need, but this is what I carry if we're actually gonna be set up and camping in the backcountry. Here I have a first aid kit. Then I have my cook stove. This is a jet boil. I really like it. Everything's all in one. There's a fuel canister I've got inside there. It kind of nests together. Super handy. The bottom's actually a measuring cup. So if you have freeze-dried meals that call for a certain amount of water, you can look on the measuring cup here. You know you're boiling the right amount of water. Your meal's gonna turn out good. Super easy stove. That's just a jet boil. I believe that's the Flash. Yeah, it's the jet boil Flash. And then got a couple of titanium. I got a spork, and then I got a spoon. The spoon's from Peaks. The spork's a Sea to Summit. This gear will be split up between 2 of us, so I'll only be carrying one. She'll be carrying one, but they don't weigh anything. Just super easy, and the long handles are really nice if you're using freeze-dried meals because your hand's not down in the bag. You're not making a big mess. First aid kit. I keep a little bit of everything in here. I have some fire starters. I do have some hand warmers in here, a body warmer. We're gonna be late season, middle of October. It's gonna be colder, so I keep those in there just in case. I have some allergy medicine, and these are actually old Tylenol bottles. You can buy at like a gas station. You can put little allergy pills in there. I've got another one that's just got some Tylenol in it. I put a handful of Tylenol in there. They don't weigh anything. They're smaller than a big pill bottle. Keep a couple extra lighters, some Band-Aids. There's a tourniquet, some bleed stop. This is really handy. Tourniquet, if you fall, you've seen it happen on YouTube, obviously. If you fall, you take an arrow, take your broadhead to a big artery or something. Some fire starters that I make, and a couple of lighters. There's not a lot in there, but it's everything you need if you need it. Up top, I actually have a pocket right here that's on the back and it's pretty protected. I have a rain cover for my pack. This is actually a Badlands pack cover. I believe it's, it's their biggest version. It fits this big mystery ranch pack really good. It doesn't weigh anything. It's got its own little pouch. It pulls out, will cover my whole entire pack in case we get stuck in the rain, but I keep it up there so it's quick to get to. I have a spare headlamp in case my main headlamp that's in my vinyl harness, in case it goes bad. I keep a spare in here, and then I also keep my main knife. Now this is a Gerber, this is their caper. I keep it in there, it's easy to get to. If I need to cut something, it's right there. I do keep other knives in my kill kit, but that's the one that's easy to get to, and I keep it readily available. So now, going into the main compartment of the pack, this Beartooth 80 is nice because it zips all the way down, and it'll actually zip all the way across the front, and you can lay it open like a suitcase. It does have some pockets here. I don't have anything in them, but there's zippered pockets in case you want to separate stuff. So one thing you don't have to have, but I think is well worth the wait, is a chair. This is the exact same chair as I'm sitting in right now. When you're sitting around camp, it's comfortable. You're not leaning against trees. You're not trying to drag logs over or rocks. If you're at the truck, you don't even have to take this in with you. Just at the truck, putting your boots on. Super handy to have a chair. I keep it in there. You can sit in that tent at night. You can eat your food. You're comfortable. My kill kit, I'll go over that here in a minute. I have a Badlands inflatable pillow. It inflates really, really good. I wouldn't say it's the best pillow on the market by any means, but packs down pretty small. It's a good pillow. And then I have a Zen Bivy. This is their core quilt. It's a really, really good sleep system. I'm gonna go over it in a little more detail here in just a second. You just open it up like that. And it's almost like Dora the Explorer's magic backpack. Everything pulls out. You do need to kind of shake it, get some loft in it. This is their core quilt. This has the foot box that is already stitched in, so it's not like an open blanket. It also has loops on it, so it can hook to your sleeping pad, and I'll pull that part out here in a minute. And this here is what they call their sheet. So your sleeping pad actually fits, and I'll actually put this on a sleeping pad here in a minute. I'll show it off. This thing is super cool. Your sleeping pad actually fits in the back of this. It has straps that goes around your pad, and then it literally gives you a sheet to go on top of your sleeping pad. It also holds your quilt and your sheet to the pad, so you're not sliding off your pad. The thing that I really like, it has a pillow pocket. Your pillow's not sliding away from you. You're not sliding off your pad. Super comfortable. Quite possibly the best, if one of the best, hands down, sleep system you can buy. Very, very cool sleep system. Like I said, I'm gonna do a better video on that and actually really show that thing off here after this pack dump video. But that's the Zen Bivy. That's the core quilt, 10 degrees. It's actually the core complete bed. Very, very handy setup. So, kind of went through the camp gear, cook system, water, sleep system. One of the most important parts. So I sat down last night, I started trying to work on editing the pack dump video, and I found out really fast that right when I got to my kill kit, my microphone died. So I'm gonna refilm this kill kit. I used the GoHunt.com game bags. One really nice thing about these game bags, they come with a really nice case to carry them in. If you buy their game bag kit, it'll come in this case. It'll have 4 large quarter bags for elk. It'll have a smaller bag for scrap meat. I do believe they offer the kit for both elk size game and deer size bags, so either or. But I use this kit. It will actually compress down a lot smaller than it is here. Inside, well, here right off the bat, right on top, I keep 25 feet of paracord. I know there's better options. There's some lighter weight options. There's some stuff called slick cord, stuff like that. I'm really not an ounces counter. Eventually, I probably will upgrade to that better option, but it's not at the top of my priority list right now. I like to use high-vis paracord of some kind. That way I can hang meat. I can see my paracord hanging my meat bags from a distance. I can hang a log up if I need to make a meat pole. Say you got to throw a tent up real quick to fix a shelter, or you got to fix your tent, tie your tent up or something. It's nice to always have some paracord, not just for, you know, after an animal's down, but just in general, have a little bit on you. That way you can do what you need to do. The next important part, my Gerber knives. So in the other part of my pack video, I showed that I keep my caper blade in my pack where it's readily accessible. In this kill kit, I also keep this heavier blade here. I think this might be called their drop point. And I really like keeping a heavier blade knife in my kill kit because when you're cutting knee joints, that thinner caper blade sometimes just bends and it doesn't have the strength to really get in there and cut. So like on an elk knee joint, you can take that whole knee off, get rid of the hoof, or the hoof up to the knee and not pack it out just by using a knife. You don't have to use a saw. So if you keep a heavier blade in there, you can cut around that knee joint. It makes a lot lighter pack out. Just makes everything a lot easier. Heavy blade, I highly recommend it. The other thing that's on here, and now I don't necessarily use this on an animal. It's actually never been used to cut up an animal, but this is a Gerber saw. It's super lightweight. It fits in the same style sheath that knife does. Actually, all three of my knives I carry have these same sheaths. But I keep it in here in case I need to cut a log. You know, maybe I need to spread a rib cage open. Maybe I need to hang a log to hang meat from. Whatever. If for some odd reason I get into a spot where I need to cut a bone, I can. I don't cut bone. I normally just cut around all knee joints, and you can quarter an animal out with just a knife. But I do keep it in here. Also, I am running a wood stove this year, so I have a small saw so I can cut firewood. But those are both Gerbers. I really like this setup. Let's see if I can pop them apart here. They both have individual sheaths, and then they kind of nest together. Super nice product from Gerber. They have 2 or 3 knives in that same line. This actually hasn't been broken down yet. I will not take all of this stuff, but it's a Trophy Taker Aftermath field dressing kit. The only thing I will put in here out of this kit, they have some rinse-free soap, and then they have some hand wipes, a pack of hand wipes, so you can really clean your hands up after you get done cleaning up an animal. You know, when you get done, you're going to be bloody. You put that soap on there, you can wipe your hands down, and this stuff weighs nothing. Really good kit from Trophy Taker. And then, if I can find it, I always keep a small knife sharpener. Now, this is a Smith's. In the past, I've carried the Smith's that has like the handle type where you basically run it down the blade. This is their smaller version. It's still got a fine, a coarse, and it's got a rod on the backside. You can get a knife really sharp with this. I generally don't have to sharpen knives in the middle of quartering anything, but say I pull that knife out and I'm cutting something for camp, and then I'll get an animal down the next morning. It's nice to always be able to clean up that blade. Even if I nick a bone real hard with the knife, whatever. This thing weighs nothing. I can keep a blade sharp, and it makes the process way faster. And then as far as game bags, now this is a little small scrap meat bag here, but I use the Go Hunt. These are the elk bags here, but they're the GoHunt.com game bags. I really like them. They're reusable. You know, they are pricier than some, one-time use bags, but I can clean these up after I get done with them every year, and I can get like multiple years worth of use out of this one set of bags. So I'm perfectly fine spending the money on something that I can reuse year after year. But that right there is my kill kit, everything I keep in it. Nothing really super expensive, nothing, crazy spectacular, but it works. I've cleaned a lot of animals with the same setup. I have used different game bags in the past with these same knives, same sharpener. I've taken mule deer, elk, quartered them up, packed them out on my back. No problems at all. That's what I carry. You guys can kind of go through. I'm going to put out a video on the different types of game bags here in a little bit too. Just kind of give you an idea of what is out there, the different styles. And hopefully you guys can take something from this, take something from what I've got in my pack, break it down. Maybe you don't use anything that I have and you use this as a learning lesson that, hey, don't do what he's doing, or you can pull pieces and parts out and make your own list out of this. Either way, I hope we help somebody. I hope we help people get out west and do some more hunting in the mountains. Good luck this year, guys. Thanks for watching.